because in the process of trying to get that deal done, we started a lot of relationships with larger equity sources, larger check writers. So we're going to be in a much better position with relationships in place, and even people that we're working on relationships with some family offices. We're trying to play the long game, right? Like
Right.
we want to find somebody that wants to grow with us. We have big aspirations. We want to be at 200 million in assets under management in 2 years.
Welcome to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate Show. Whether you are an active or passive investor, we'll teach you how to scale your real estate investing business into something big.
Tate Siemer is the CEO and managing partner of GreenLight Equity Group. They currently have $58 million in assets under management, about 600 units. Tate is also the host of the Apartment Gurus podcast. Tate, welcome to the show.
Sam, it is a pleasure to be with you. Can't wait for this.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine. Tate, there are 3 questions I ask every guest who comes on the show. In 90 seconds or less, can you tell me, where did you start? Where are you now? And how did you get there?
Well, as far as real estate goes,
Sure.
okay, yeah. So, real quick backstory: I'm originally from Cincinnati. I grew up there, suburban kid, Catholic high school, but not a Catholic guy. I was never Catholic. I just went to the school because it was a great school. But moved to Utah in 1999, last century, to ski, to chase a dream of skiing in the Rocky Mountains. And I've lived here for 23 years and have really adopted this as home. Originally a photographer by trade, professional ski photographer, also weddings and portraits, and did that hard and heavy for about 10 years. But in 2006, I got into real estate investing, really just through a friend, a buddy that was in a class, a basic flipping class, on how to invest in single family and small multifamily. And really, that's how I got into real estate. I eventually got my realtor license, started flipping homes on my own, also went to work for some other investors. And then in 2011, teamed up with my current partner, Carl York, who was my original boss in Salt Lake City in 99, actually. But so we've been working together for 23 years, on and off, mostly on, in different businesses. And we 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago now, we caught the multifamily bug through. We really had a 12 unit kind of fall in our lap from a wholesaler that brought it to us and said, "Here's a great deal. You guys should do it. Here's how I would do it." And we ended up buying it, and really saw the magic of multifamily in terms of being able to buy something that produces cash flow. That was new to us. New concept, believe it or not, too. I mean, it was something we had never really seriously considered as as a lane to get in. But once we got in that lane, we have not left. We're singularly focused on multifamily specifically. Like you said, we have 595 doors under management right now, and we 7 different communities in Columbus, Ohio, and Oklahoma City. Those are our 2 target markets. We do also do some deals in Utah, here in Utah as well. So yeah, that's kind of a real quick, brief thumbnail of kind of how we got to where we are. Super excited about this space. Love it. Really in love with the work I do. Love doing the podcast, as I'm sure you can relate, Sam. And I love being able to be a contribution to other people along the way. So that's really what I'm all about.
That's awesome. Tell me about the transition that you went through as you discovered the cash flow, that being a new concept. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I actually remember the moment really well when we were underwriting that deal and analyzing it. And my partner Carl looked at me and he goes, he goes, dude, can you shoot any holes in this deal? Like, I mean, we're making like it's profitable. Like it's a deal that's now this particular community was half vacant. 6 of the 12 units were vacant. The other half were paying very, very low rents. The place was in shambles. And so we basically got everybody out and did a head to toe remodel, everything from the membrane TPO roof down to mechanicals, flooring, solid surface counters. We really did them up well, windows. And for us, it was really a matter of seeing for the first time everything we had done up to that point is what I would call speculative in nature, in that we were buying properties for a certain price, figuring we could add value to them for a certain expense and sell it for a profitable price at the end of the process.
Right.
We did that with single family houses. We did that with land, and we even did that with new build development. And every single deal that we did was speculative in nature in that way. When the apartment came along and all of a sudden we had like income and cash flow and revenue that we could underwrite, it was a whole new thing. I mean, it actually required a whole new spreadsheet, a whole new model for us to underwrite it. And it was quite a profound moment, really, because there's nothing like a live deal to bring home all the advantages of multifamily. And all the hardships too. Like there's nothing better you can do to learn this business than actually do deals, in my opinion. And as entrepreneurs, we bite off big bites and big chunks, and we solve big problems. And sometimes as an entrepreneur, you've got to put something under contract that you're not 100% sure how it's going to get done. And we've done that. We've been very successful, and we've also stumbled a few times. But yeah, so, like back to that kind of that light bulb moment of seeing the magic of multifamily. It's something that I now consider almost a moral imperative of mine to get the word out there that this is a fantastic option for investors to put their money into private deals that are cash flowing, that are going to grow wealth, that are going to be risk mitigated, that are going to bring tax advantages. So yeah, super exciting space for us.
I love it. A full gut job on a 12 unit is your first. How did you get over the industry experience, maybe the lender would require, and then how did you get it financed?
Well, we did that one with hard money. So we didn't. We had from the single family days, we had a lender here in town, local hard money guy that trusted us, knew us very well. He financed 90% of the purchase and 100% of the fix up. And then we actually raised investor capital for the rest. So we did that deal with no money out of pocket. We actually had to bring in a little bit of money at the end to complete the CapEx we were doing. But essentially no money out of pocket for the purchase and the fix up. So yeah, it was a good one.
That's awesome. Do you still own that deal today?
We did. We went full cycle on it. We stabilized it we doubled the rents there from where they were, and it's a very transitional part of Salt Lake City. So there were good properties around us and not so good properties around us, but we were able to really set the neighborhood standard for high rent levels on small 1-bedrooms.
That's awesome. Very, very good. Well done getting that one, done full cycle, but also just, creatively finding a way to take that down. I think that's, as people start to scale into larger assets, it's a common question. It's like, well, how do I get that first deal done? And obviously there's a million ways to do it. So I think it's always interesting to hear what people have done and how they finance their opportunities. You said you'd stumbled a few times, maybe along the way since then. What are some of those things that come to mind when you say that?
Yeah. a recent example of something that didn't really go the way that we wanted it to was we had a very very nice building in Columbus under contract,
Hmm.
and it was a $27 million acquisition. We had about a $12 million equity raise to get done, and which was quite a bit more than what we've ever raised before. And so we sourced, we went to work sourcing institutional equity, private equity, and we got some people on board real early that we weren't ready to jump into bed with just yet because of our loan. And then when we got the loan solidified and in place, and this was during that rapid shift in the market, the debt market. When we finally got that loan in place, we went back out and had a hard time finding equity. We finally found a source that wanted to do the deal, and then as the market shifted and our due diligence time expired and went by, we they backed out. They kind of left us at the altar, so to speak, and so we weren't able to get that deal done. We lost our earnest money on it, and that's painful. And it's it's something that happens in this industry. It's why they call it investing. It's why they call earnest money risk money. Um, Obviously, it's something that we never foresaw happening, but it just kind of there were a number of factors: the shifting market, the spikes in interest rates, and the shift in equity and their equities perspective on the market really ended up hurting us a lot. So we've been in kind of regrouping mode, and one of the things that we're doing, Sam, is we're looking at smaller deals now,
Hmm.
deals that we know that 100% we can fund. We're actually under contract on another 12 unit in Salt Lake City, so we're super exciting property. We're currently in the middle of raising capital for that. So when you go big, sometimes you get pummeled. Like, surf the big waves, and you're going to get pummeled eventually. Sometimes. So that's one example. We had early on in our Oklahoma City deals. We had a property manager that was managing all of our properties there that we had to fire,
Hmm.
which was also painful in a number of different ways. But we that was kind of a blessing in disguise because we found a absolutely amazing property manager to come in on those. So yeah, fail forward, right? Like, there's a book called Fail Forward, and I think it's a great concept. It's all about embracing the failure, learning from it, growing from it, and becoming stronger from it.
What were some of the key takeaways, maybe that you guys either jotted down or just kind of stuck in the back of your head and said, "Hey, if we have a deal this size next time, we're going to do it differently."
Yeah.
What are those things you would do differently?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because in the process of trying to get that deal done, we started a lot of relationships with larger equity sources, larger check writers. So we're going to be in a much better position with relationships in place, and even people that we're working on relationships with some family offices that are we're trying to play the long game, right? Like,
Right.
we want to find somebody that wants to grow with us. We have big aspirations. We want to be at 200 million in assets under management in 2 years. So you know, getting that going from 60-ish million right now to 200 is going to take some large unit count properties, and large acquisition, larger checks from equity. So really, I think for us the lesson is relationships. Having when we started with that deal, we didn't have any equity relationships in place aside from our own investor network that we market to. So having that in place will serve us very, very well moving forward.
What are some things, just more of a practical advice? What are some things you have done to put yourself in front of those larger check writers or bigger equity sources? If I wanted to go do that today, what would you tell me to do?
I would say join masterminds, go to networking events, whether they're virtual or in person, go to national conferences and ask everybody who they know that might be able to help them in the larger check area of the business. And, so for us, it's really just been a lot of conversations and a lot of referrals, a lot of, hey, I know this guy or I know these guys. Also, there's equity brokers, and they're more than happy to work with you. That's how they feed their families. So there's get on LinkedIn, Google debt/equity or debt and equity for commercial real estate, and just start reaching out to people. You will find it.
That's really great advice. Thank you for taking the time to share that. Does that concern you? As you're moving forward, I know that having a larger check writer back out of your deal cost you a deal. Does that concern you, or is there a way to kind of mitigate or ensure that when you get at least a verbal, if not written commitment from a larger equity source, that they're actually going to follow through?
Well, we never did get a written commitment from that source. We did get a verbal commitment, but I would say it never stop raising capital until the checks, cleared and in your account, right? That's really don't stop picking up the phone until that happens. And not that we really did that. It all kind of happened pretty fast, but you never want to count your chickens before they hatch. So just keep raising.
That's exactly it. I can't tell you, how often, we'll get soft commits or even, hey, I've even had people sign docs and then just never get around to funding. Like, oh yeah, no, we're coming. And then I just keep raising and then eventually you just turn it off. It's like, well, I'm sorry you didn't get it done. So I think that's great advice. Certainly there. I want to hear a little bit about your coaching program. We've got about 2 minutes left here and I want to hear about that there before we sign off.
Sure. It's called Multifamily Accelerator, and basically what it's designed for either an aspiring multifamily investor or an existing multifamily investor that wants to scale up. For the aspiring investor, it's all about getting that first deal done. So it's a really comprehensive deep dive into everything that it takes to get a deal done. Because the first deal is the hardest deal by a long shot to get done. And once you get it done, things start rolling. It's Michael Blanc talks about the law of the first deal, and that's a real thing. So it's a hybrid coaching format. It's group coaching combined with lots of one-on-one time with me, and it's just a multifaceted program that is designed to really catapult you to the next level that you want to get to.
That's awesome. Love that. Love that. If we want to learn more about you, Tate, your coaching program, your podcast, all those things, what are the best places to find that?
Yeah. Investwithgreenlight.com, investwithgreenlight.com. And you can always email me too, either through that or Tate@GLEquityGroup.com. And that's really the best way to reach me. I love to hear from people. I'm also on all the social media platforms at Tate Siemer. So love to hear from you guys.
Awesome. Tate, thank you again for your time today. Certainly appreciate it.
My pleasure, Sam. Thank you.